If you're doing keto and you keep getting hit with sudden snack attacks, it's usually not a willpower problem. It's a signal. Most of the time, your body is reacting to one of three pressures: stress, low salt and fluids, or not enough sleep. And keto can make those signals louder at first because insulin drops and your water and electrolytes shift. The tricky part is that these cravings often feel urgent and specific, like you need something crunchy, salty, or sweet right now. That urgency is useful information. It tells you which system is out of balance. In the next few minutes, you'll learn how to tell stress cravings from electrolyte cravings and how sleep loss changes hunger hormones and decision-making. You'll also get simple, practical resets you can try the same day without turning keto into a complicated project. The goal is calm control, not constant restriction. Moving to slide 2. First, let's define a snack attack in a useful way. It's not normal hunger that builds gradually and feels satisfied after a meal. It's a fast spike, restless, distracted, and often paired with a specific texture or flavor. On keto, that can show up even when your calories are fine, because appetite is not just energy need. It's also hormones, hydration, electrolytes, and your brain's reward system. A helpful check is this: if you'd happily eat plain eggs or leftover meat, that's probably real hunger. If the only thing that sounds good is chips, nuts, or something sweet, that's usually a cue-driven craving. Another clue is timing. If it hits late afternoon, after meetings, or after a bad night of sleep, it's probably not about your last meal. When you label the sensation correctly, you stop fighting yourself and start troubleshooting the right lever. Moving to slide 3. Keto changes your baseline in a way that can set up snack attacks if you don't adapt. When insulin drops, your kidneys tend to release more sodium and water. That's one reason people lose water weight early. But it also means you can feel off even if you're eating clean keto foods. Mild dehydration and low sodium can feel like anxiety, fatigue, headaches, and yes, cravings. Your brain interprets body stress as a need for quick relief, and snack foods are an easy target. Another keto-specific factor is that fat and protein are more satiating, but only if you're eating enough at meals. If you unintentionally undereat, you may feel fine for hours, then crash into an urgent urge to snack. So before blaming carbs, check the basics: fluids, salt, and meal size. Keto works best when your foundation is stable. Moving to slide 4. Let's talk stress first, because it's the most common mystery craving. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol and other signals that increase alertness. That can be useful, but it also pushes your brain toward fast energy and fast comfort. Studies link higher stress to more reward-seeking eating, especially highly palatable foods. On keto, you might not crave sugar specifically, but you can crave keto-friendly treats, salty snacks, or constant grazing. Stress also changes how you interpret hunger. You can feel empty, wired, and unsatisfied even after a solid meal. A key sign is that the craving comes with mental agitation, racing thoughts, irritability, or the feeling that you need a break more than you need food. In that case, the most effective fix often isn't another snack. It's downshifting your nervous system so the urge loses intensity. Moving to slide 5. Here's a fast way to separate stress cravings from true hunger. Stress cravings usually spike when you're transitioning, ending work, finishing a difficult call, or walking into the kitchen without a plan. They also tend to want something now, and they're rarely satisfied by a normal plate of food. True hunger is more patient. It's there even if you're busy, and it responds well to protein. If you suspect stress, try a 2-minute reset before you eat. Drink a full glass of water, add a pinch of salt if that fits your plan, and take 10 slow breaths with a longer exhale. Then ask one question: would I eat a simple protein right now? If yes, eat a real mini-meal, not a snack spiral. If no, you're probably chasing relief. In that case, a short walk, a shower, or a quick tidy can scratch the closure itch that stress creates. Moving to slide 6. Now let's hit salt, because low sodium is a classic keto snack trigger. When carbs are lower, insulin is lower, and you tend to excrete more sodium. If you don't replace it, your body can push you towards salty, crunchy foods. People often describe it as, I need something, but what they really need is electrolytes and fluids. The confusing part is that low sodium can also make you feel tired and foggy, which makes snacking feel like a solution. Signs include headaches, lightheadedness when standing, muscle cramps, and a sudden obsession with salty foods. The fix is not to mindlessly eat more packaged keto snacks. It's to intentionally salt your meals and consider a simple broth or electrolyte drink that doesn't add sugar. If you're unsure, start small. The goal is steady energy, not chasing extremes. Moving to slide 7. Electrolytes are more than just sodium, so let's widen the lens. Potassium and magnesium also influence cravings indirectly because they affect muscle function, sleep quality, and how stressed your body feels. If you're low, you might notice twitchy muscles, cramps, constipation, or trouble relaxing at night. That discomfort can turn into snacking because eating feels like doing something. On keto, potassium often drops when you cut out higher carb foods like fruit and some starchy vegetables. Magnesium intake can be low if your diet lacks nuts, seeds, and leafy greens, or if stress is high. Practical approach: build electrolytes into food first. Use salt, eat potassium-rich keto foods like avocado and leafy greens, and consider magnesium-rich options like pumpkin seeds. Supplements can be useful for some people, but they're not one-size-fits-all. The main idea is to reduce background discomfort that your brain misreads as hunger. Moving to slide 8. Sleep is the third big driver, and it's sneaky because it changes both your body and your choices. Studies show sleep restriction can increase hunger hormones and reduce satiety signals, which means you feel less satisfied by the same meal. But there's also a brain effect. When you're tired, your impulse control is weaker and your reward system is louder. On keto, that can look like grazing on cheese, nuts, keto bars, or just a spoon of nut butter. Another pattern is waking up hungry at night or very early morning, especially if your day was stressful and your dinner was light. One bad night can raise cravings the next day, even if your macros are perfect. The solution is not perfection, it's building a sleep buffer, consistent wake time, a darker and cooler room, and a wind down that doesn't involve endless scrolling. Better sleep doesn't just reduce cravings, it makes keto feel easier. Moving to slide 9. Here's a practical way to handle the day after poor sleep without spiraling. First, expect cravings to be louder. That expectation alone reduces the "what's wrong with me" feeling. Second, front-load protein at your first meal, because protein tends to improve satiety and steadiness. Third, be careful with caffeine timing. Too much or too late can worsen stress and sleep the next night, which keeps the cycle going. Fourth, plan a structured snack only if you truly need it. Choose something boring and filling, like a small portion of meat, eggs, or full-fat yogurt if it fits your approach. Avoid trigger foods that are easy to overeat, like nuts straight from the bag. And finally, get bright light earlier in the day and dim light later. That helps your circadian rhythm recover. The goal is to stabilize the next 24 hours so cravings don't get to run the show. Moving to slide 10. Now let's cover a common keto trap: keto-friendly snack foods. They can fit your carb limit, but they still train the snack loop: crave, grab, repeat. Many are engineered to be easy to eat quickly, with a strong flavor hit. Even without sugar, that can keep your reward system chasing the next bite. Another issue is calorie density. Nuts, cheese crisps, fat bombs, and nut butters can add up fast, and they don't always create the same fullness as a plated meal. If you're using snacks to cover stress, low salt, or sleep debt, these foods can mask the real problem while keeping cravings alive. A better strategy is to decide what snacks are tools and what snacks are triggers. Tools are portioned, protein-forward, and boring. Triggers are open-ended and highly snackable. Keto is simpler when your environment doesn't constantly invite grazing. Moving to slide 11. Let's make this actionable with a quick diagnostic you can run in real life. When a snack attack hits, pause and run 3 questions in order. 1. Am I stressed or emotionally loaded? If yes, do a 2-minute downshift first. 2. Have I had enough water and salt? If you've been peeing a lot, sweating, or your meals were low salt, consider broth or salted water. 3. Did I sleep well? If not, assume cravings are amplified and choose structure over improvisation. Then decide between two options, a real mini meal or a non-food reset. A mini meal is protein plus a little fat, eaten seated without multitasking. A non-food reset is a short walk, stretching, or a hot drink. This approach works because it treats cravings like data. You stop arguing with the craving and start answering it accurately. Moving to slide 12. Meal structure matters more on keto than most people expect, because it's easy to accidentally build meals that look big but don't satisfy. If your meal is mostly added fats with not enough protein, you may hit your calories but still feel snacky. Protein is the anchor for satiety, and it also helps you avoid the "I need something else" feeling an hour later. Another issue is not enough volume. Non-starchy vegetables add bulk and minerals without many carbs, and that can help your brain register a meal as complete. Also consider timing. If you go too long between meals while adapting, you may get a late-day crash that feels like an emergency. A simple fix is to set 2 or 3 solid meals for a while, then adjust later if you want fewer meals. Keto isn't a test of how long you can go without eating. It's a way to make appetite calmer. Moving to slide 13. Let's close with a simple prevention plan that targets all 3 causes: stress, salt, and sleep, without making your day rigid. For stress, schedule tiny decompression moments before you hit the kitchen, like a 5-minute walk or a short stretch. For salt and fluids, make it automatic. Salt your main meals and keep a consistent water routine, especially if you exercise or sweat. For sleep, protect the last hour before bed. Dim lights, keep the room cool, and avoid heavy, late meals that disrupt sleep for some people. Also, keep your trigger snacks out of immediate reach, not because they're forbidden, but because friction reduces impulsive eating when you're tired or stressed. If you want one rule that covers most snack attacks, it's this: when you snack, make it deliberate, portioned, and protein first. If this helped, subscribe for more practical keto troubleshooting, and comment with your biggest trigger: stress, salt, or sleep. Burn fat efficiently. Think clearly. Live steadily.